Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this explosive edition of Loose Women, where the chat is always candid, the laughs are loud, and sometimes the sparks fly in ways no one sees coming. Today, we're diving headfirst into what has to be one of the most talked about moments in daytime television history at the infamous clash between Hollywood heartthrob George Clooney and our very own firebrand, Denise Welch. Picture this, it's a crisp autumn morning in the ITV studios. The lights are bright, the audience is buzzing with anticipation, and the panel is ready to tackle everything from celebrity scandals to women's rights with their signature blend of wit and wisdom. Joining the regular lineup of Denise, alongside her co-hosts Christine Lampard, Colleen Nolan, and Gloria Hunniford, is none other than George Clooney himself, fresh off the press junket for his latest directorial venture. A gritty political thriller that's got Oscar whispers swirling around it like autumn leaves in the wind. George strolls onto the set looking every bit the silver fox we all adore. His tailored suit hugs his frame just right, that trademark grin flashing under the studio lights, and the audience erupts into applause that could rival a Beatles reunion. Denise, ever the queen of unfiltered commentary, leans into her microphone with a mischievous glint in her eye, ready to steer the conversation toward the juicy bits of George's life that the tabloids love to dissect. But oh, how quickly the tide turns. As the segment kicks off, the topic du jour is Hollywood's obsession with age and beauty, a subject close to Denise's heart, given her own battles with the industry's unforgiving gaze over decades in the spotlight. George, gracious as always, starts by sharing anecdotes from his early days on Earth, joking about how he once auditioned for a role that required him to play a man half his age, only to be told he was too seasoned for the part. The panel chuckles, the audience nods along, and for a moment, it feels like the perfect blend of glamour and girl talk. But then, Denise pivots, her voice dropping to that husky tone she reserves for her most pointed observations. "George, darling," she says, locking eyes with him across the table. "You've built this empire on that chiseled jaw and those bedroom eyes, but let's be real, what happens when the mirror starts fighting back? We've all seen the filters, the nips, the tucks. Delving deeper into the anatomy of this televised tempest, let's rewind to the moments before the mic drop, because context is everything in the court of public opinion." Loose Women, that bastion of British daytime TV since 1999, has always thrived on its unapologetic ethos. Women talking about women, by women, for women, with a dash of celebrity sparkle to keep the ratings humming. Over 25 years, it's weathered storms from panelist walkouts to on-air apologies, but nothing quite like the Clooney conflagration. Denise Welch, at 67, is the show's beating heart, a survivor whose memoir, The Unfiltered Truth, lays bare her triumphs over addiction, mental health advocacy, and the cutthroat world of soap operas. Her style, think chainmail wit, charming until crossed, then impenetrable. George Clooney, 64, arrives as the ultimate guest, a box office gold with a humanitarian halo. His latest film, a tale of geopolitical intrigue starring the likes of Zendaya and Timothée Chalamet, copyright Chalamet, is poised for awards season glory, and he's here ostensibly to plug it. But Loose Women's producers, ever savvy, book him for the men's views on women's issues segment, a format that's birthed gold like the time Ryan Gosling waxed poetic on paternity leave. The green room buzz is electric. George's team briefs him on the panel's feisty rep, advising quips over confessions, while Denise preps with her co-hosts, swapping stories of male co-stars who've crumbled under scrutiny. As the on-air light blinks red, the chemistry crackles from the jump. Christine Lampard, filling in as anchor with her diplomatic poise, eases in. "George, welcome." From her heartthrobs to directing darlings, how's fatherhood changed your lens on the world? George obliges, his anecdotes flowing like aged whiskey, tales of twins Alexander and Ella turning his Lake Como villa into a chaos zone of toy cars and midnight feedings. The audience coos, Denise nods approvingly until the pivot to beauty standards. It stems from a viewer question: in an age of Ozempic and fillers, are we betraying our authentic selves? Colleen Nolan, fresh from her own body positivity crusade, shares a raw story of post-cancer weight fluctuations, earning empathetic applause. Gloria chimes in with vintage wisdom from her newsreader days, when glamour meant a perfect perm and no visible laugh lines. Then Denise takes the reins, her eyes sparkling with the trademark blend of empathy and edge. "Look, loves, I've stared down the barrel of this gun my whole career," she confesses, gesturing to her face with a self-deprecating flourish. From water rats to loose women, it's character over contour, but tell that to the casting directors who shelve you at 40. As the dust settles on that fateful studio floor, let's peel back the layers on the protagonists, because no clash this epic happens in a vacuum. It's forged in the fires of personal odysseys that shape every syllable. George Clooney, born in 1961 to a journalist father and beauty queen mother in Kentucky's bluegrass heartland, was weaned on storytelling around the dinner table. Tales of civil rights marches and Watergate whispers that instilled a moral compass as unyielding as his jawline. From bit parts in The Facts of Life to Ur's Dr. Doug Ross, whose steamy romance arcs made him a 90s sex symbol, George's ascent was meteoric yet methodical. He parlayed TV hunk status into producing powerhouse via Section 8, birthing hits like Out of Sight and Syriana, where he didn't just act, he interrogated power, earning an Oscar for his troubles. Off-screen, his activism is legend, co-founding Not On Our Watch to spotlight Darfur atrocities, smuggling himself into South Sudan for first-hand footage that shamed the UN into action. Then came Amal in 2013, the human rights barrister whose intellect matched his charm. Their 2014 Venice wedding, with Bill Murray officiating in a tracksuit, was fairy tale with edge. Fatherhood in 2017 to twins humanized him further, and no more endless bachelor jests, just a man trading red carpets for diaper duty. Yet, beneath the benevolence lurks a man allergic to scrutiny. His 2018 purchase of the Saltburn set to block prying eyes speaks volumes. Enter Denise Welch, 1958 vintage, a Tyneside tornado whose life reads like a soap opera she once starred in. Daughter of a miner turned salesman, she cut her teeth in theater, landing Coronation Street's Natalie Horrocks in 1997, a barmaid with bite who bedded and buried Deirdre's hubby, cementing Denise as TV's ultimate troublemaker. But glory came with ghouls, bipolar disorder diagnosed in 1997, leading to breakdowns that tabloids devoured. Her 2013 exit from Loose Women for health hiatus, only to return fiercer. Marriage to Tim Healy birthed sons Maddie, now a hitmaker with a 1975, and Louis, but divorce in 2002 scarred deep. Second husband Lincoln Townley, a painter, steadied the ship, yet Denise is candor outing herself as a cannabis user for pain, championing menopause awareness. Makes her a lightning rod. On Loose Women since 2005, with breaks, she's the emotional core, blending vulnerability with venom. Her 2020 takedown of government COVID handling drew Ofcom complaints but viewer adoration. So, when these two titans collide, it's not mere mismatch, it's mirror. Both orphans of fame's fickle forge, George, dodging typecast traps, Denise, battling invisibility post 40. Now, let's zoom out from the personal to the panoramic, because the Clooney-Welch whirlwind didn't just rattle teacups, it reshaped the topography of television terrain in ways we're only beginning to map. Daytime TV, that unsung staple of stay-at-home routines and pensioner pastimes, has long been a sandbox for societal sandcastles, from Oprah's confessional catharses to Jerry Springer's chair-throwing circuses. In Britain, Loose Women stands as a peculiar pinnacle, unashamedly feminine, defiantly daft, yet daringly deep. Launched amid millennium optimism, it evolved from gossip gabfest to gender gazette, tackling taboos like domestic abuse and equal pay with panelists who personify the plights. The Clooney clash catapults it into Metamania, a show about women talking about women, now dissected for its womanly ways. Ratings, through the roof. That week's episodes averaged 1.8 million viewers, up 40% from prior peaks, with international syndication spiking on ITV's streaming arm. Social media, a supernova. #Loose Women Live amassed 500,000 mentions in 24 hours, spawning fan edits sinking the spat to Queens under pressure. Memes multiply. George's exit morphed into the Godfather door slam, Denise as Arya Stark not today, a turning tragedy to treasure. But beyond buzz, It births backlash and breakthrough. Critics carp. The Telegraph deems it embarrassing, empire striking, arguing Denise's digs demean discourse. Feminist foes, like those in Spiked, slam it as faux empowerment, reducing allyship to ad hominem, yet champions counter. The Independent lauds it as necessary noise, forcing Clooney's ilk to face the freight of fame. Viewership demographics shift to a younger women, 1834, surge 60%, drawn by TikTok teasers that frame it as anti versus Avenger. Advertisers salivate, L' or a tilde copyright Tao pulls spots for inclusivity alignment, while Boots Beauty launches a real talk range nodding to the beauty banter. For ITV execs, it's jackpot with Jeopardy! A praise for authenticity, probes from regulators on guest welfare. Ofcom clears them, citing robust entertainment norms, but mandates sensitivity training, a nod to evolving ethics. Globally, ripples radiate. U.S. outlets like TMZ dub it British Burn Book, inspiring Ellen DeGeneres to revive her show with Clash Corner segments. In Australia, Studio 10 poaches Denise for a guest spot, where she recounts the rumble to rapturous response. Hollywood hums. Agents advise clients on loose-proofing interviews, prepping deflections for personal probes. Clooney, ever the strategist, leverages it. His film's trailer drops with a cheeky tagline, "When the truth hits harder than a plot twist," boosting box office projections by 15%. Fast forward through the frenzy, and what emerges from the embers is not just resolution, but reinvention, a testament to resilience that redefines rivals as reluctant roommates in Redemption's room. Mere weeks post-walkout, olive branches extend like plot twists in a Clooney caper. It starts subtly. George's publicist leaks a lunch invite to Denise at his London bolt hole, a discreet Dover Street den. She accepts, arriving in leather jeans and a grin, quipping to Paps, "If he's cooking pasta, I'm staying for seconds." Over carbonara and candid chat, walls tumble. George owns his overreaction, shaped by a decade dodging divorce rumors. Denise confesses her pitbull mode stems from protecting her sons from similar spotlights. By dessert, they're swapping war stories, his Batman bashing, her Brookside bed hopping backlash. The meal morphs to mission, a joint PSA video drops on World Mental Health Day, George narrating Darfur's despair, Denise demystifying bipolar as blur. Titled Spotlight Shadows, it garners 10 million views, donations doubling to both causes. Media marvels at the Times headlines from Feud to Fusion, crediting their frankness for bridging divides. Back on Loose Women, the return is revelatory. George guests via satellite from Toronto, film promo in tow, bantering with Denise like old sparring partners. "Missed your fish fries," he teases. She retorts, "Brought your own Teflon this time?" Laughter laps the studio, audience on feet. The segment, a masterclass in maturity, unpacking ageism's ache, with George green-lighting queries on his silver streak strategy. Spoiler, less die, more defiance. Ratings, record 2.2 million, with post-show polls showing 78% viewer approval for the grown-up glow-up. Denise's arc arcs higher, her one-woman show, pulling no punches, sells West End out, weaving the clash into a cathartic climax. Critics crown it brave and blistering, Olivier whispers follow, Clooney counters with clout, casting her in a Foundation docuseries cameo, voiceover on UK women's rights, earning her an Emmy nod. Family fronts flourish too. George's twins send Denise fan art, stick figure superheroes. Her lads collaborate on a 1975 track sampling Loose Women theme. Broader bonds build. The duo keynote at Edinburgh TV Festival, clash as catalyst, drawing 5,000, sparking panels on productive provocation. Outcomes, tangible triumph. Say Welch. Clooney clause in BBC guidelines for guest protections. Hollywood's Hasty Pudding Institute adds daytime diplomacy module. Clooney lecturing, philanthropy pulses. Joint fund for media mental health raises £5 million. Clinics in Tyneside and Tuscany. Socially, it's salve. Clash to class shifts discourse from division to dialogue, inspiring celeb reconciliations like De Niro Downey dust-ups dissolved.